I can't go down anymore. But like
Things are still heating up between Canelo and Crawford. Ever since their animosity started, we've been waiting to see the fight happen, and it almost did, but not inside the ring, just close to becoming a brawl.
Todos son los que están detrás de ti. Tú eres un pendejo nomás con la imagen, idiota.
Sí. Canelo-Crawford, but now I don't want to think. I am focusing in Saturday in the biggest fight of the century.
In a dramatic turn of events that sent shockwaves through the boxing world, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez recently traded heated words that almost led to a full-blown brawl. The confrontation took place during a press conference that was initially meant to announce their respective upcoming fights.
Canelo fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think
Crawford, riding high on his recent victory over Errol Spence Jr., was in attendance to talk his next steps when he crossed paths with Canelo, the reigning super middleweight champion. What began as a cordial interaction quickly escalated as the two champions found themselves in a tense verbal sparring match fueled by Crawford's ambitious statement of his intent to move up in weight and challenge Canelo.
is it a challenge for him? Yeah, of course. It's a challenge for the whole team. Yeah, of course. And that's something that
The fiery exchange caught by cameras and shared widely on social media saw both fighters hurling insults and nearly coming to blows with their respective entourages stepping in to prevent physical altercation. However, as all this happens, their fight is still drawing.
I always fight with everybody. You asking, so but alright.
His Excellency Turki Alalshik, a key figure in the world of sports promotion, has revealed that he is working on organizing a monumental fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. This highly anticipated bout is tentatively planned for late 2024 or early 2025, with possible venues including major cities like New York, Las Vegas, or Los Angeles.
We want to do it at the end of the year or the beginning of the second year.
For this mega fight to materialize, Terence Crawford must first overcome a major challenge. On August 3rd, he is set to meet WBA junior middleweight champion Israel Madrimov. Assuming Crawford gets a victory, he would then immediately begin preparations for a showdown with Canelo in December or early 2025.
Delivered for us. It is Vegas or Los Angeles or New York, one of the three cities.
Okay. What about your relationship?
The possibility of such a quick turnaround emphasizes Crawford's commitment and determination to face Canelo. I want this fight, and we are thinking of doing it in America because we want it, huge Turki Alalshik stated in an interview with Ariel Helwan site, adding to the ambitious nature of this possible matchup.
Canelo and Crawford card. And I want this fight.
The appeal of a Canelo-Crawford fight is obvious. Both fighters have established themselves as top-tier talents, and their clash is expected to generate significant pay-per-view numbers, especially from us fans.
First option in America, because we will do it as a business and commercial for our country.
But specifically where in America?
However, let's also not forget that while this fight will be highly anticipated, it might not reach the same level of excitement as a possible Canelo fight against David Benavidez. A clash with Bennett, a rising star in the super middleweight division, would be enormous if it could be arranged. Nonetheless, Crawford's involvement in such a high-profile fight is proof of his standing in the sport, similar to last year's match between Canelo and former undisputed junior middleweight champion Yoel Charlo. We are thinking to do it in America, because we want it huge in big stadium and big pay-per-view. The potential bout with Canelo represents a significant leap of faith for Crawford. He would be moving up to weight divisions to fight at 168 pounds, a division he has never competed in before. This is quite a challenge, especially considering Crawford will have just one match at 154 pounds under his belt before making the jump.
I always fight with everybody. You asking, so but right now I'm in the position I can ask him to. So I'm in the position I can ask him to, and I can.
The move is somewhat controversial as it includes Crawford bypassing established contenders in the super middleweight division to get a title shot against Canelo. However, the landscape at 168 pounds has shifted, with several top fighters having moved up to 175 pounds to chase titles in that division. A fighter scoff is a fighter as it is different, 168. But like I say, he says Crawford's age and lack of experience at higher weight classes add to the uncertainty regarding this potential fight. At 36 years old, he is already up against the normal physical decline that comes with age. Her age. I don't know. I'm about to be 36 years old in September, so I don't see myself, going to box very much. Additionally, his fight against Madrimov will mark his return to the ring after a year-long layoff, making it tough to predict his performance. there is no guarantee that he will emerge victorious on August 3rd, and even if he does, the task of moving up to weight classes to face Canelo remains daunting.
In our way to doing something like this, from the promoters or the belt.
Therefore, many boxing experts and fans believe that Crawford should first prove himself at 160 pounds before challenging Canelo at 168. Facing a top contender in the middleweight division would provide a better indication of Crawford's ability to compete at higher weights for that fight. I don't need to take that fight because everybody's going to say it's too small. It's too small. It's too small. And then you know he needs to enjoy his fight. This step would not only give him important experience but also help to justify his title shot against Canelo despite these worries. Crawford's ambition and confidence cannot be understated, and his willingness to take on such a major challenge says volumes about his character. I am very angry, and I don't understand why the IBF made it mandatory for Canelo very soon. From a promoter standpoint, a Canelo-Crawford fight is a lucrative chance. Both fighters have significant fan bases and marketability, and their bout would surely attract widespread attention. Turkey's involvement adds an additional layer of prestige and credibility to the event. His track record in organizing big sports events suggests that this fight, if it happens, will be a grand spectacle.
We want it, we will do it. And we will success to do it.
Now that the money needed here is out of the question, Canelo should now live up to his promise to fight Crawford. Canelo is still one of the biggest draws in the sport. Initially, he dismissed the idea of fighting Crawford, thinking he wouldn't receive much credit for beating a smaller opponent, but they said that's the money fight. That's the mega fight. That's the money fight. That's the only thing that makes sense for Terence Crawford. Well, you know I mean catch him. However, the 33-year-old Canelo seems to be warming up to the idea, especially if the financial terms are favorable. Speaking at a No Golf No Live presentation, the 4-weight world champion said Crawford is a great fighter, obviously 3 divisions below. As I've said before, I've fought bigger guys in my category, smaller guys, older guys, younger guys. At the end of the day, I was born to fight, and I'll fight anyone obviously on terms that suit me best at this point in my career. I'll always make the best fights, but they have to benefit me. It depends on the money, but why not?
Not good. Now it's Canelo. He has belts. Of course, he's the best in 168.
However, there's something we can't ignore here, the weight difference. But even with that, experts have backed Crawford up confidence that he will win the battle with Canelo boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard. Leonard is among those who believe in Crawford's ability to succeed despite the significant challenge that takes me way back when I was fighting. I always believe Leonard is known for his own fearless approach to fighting. Drew draws parallels between his success and Crawford's ambitious move. He said 3 weight aids, 3 weight classes. Well, you know what, if anyone can do it, he can do it. That takes me way back when I was fighting. I always believed I could win. When I walked into that ring, the fights that I did lose, I didn't feel comfortable. It's one of those things, the higher you go up, the harder it is, because you don't want to carry too much weight as long as it doesn't prevent him, Crawford, from moving and slipping punches, and just stay on the outside and fight his.
What do you make of that?
3 weight classes. Well, you know what? If anyone can do it, he can do it. You know, it's.
Leonard's insights show the physical and strategic challenges Crawford will face going up in weight can be a double-edged sword. While it might offer more power, it can also slow a fighter down, hurting their agility and ability to avoid ID punches. Leonard emphasizes the importance of keeping mobility and fighting smart, which will be crucial for Crawford against a powerful opponent like Canelo. And wait, well, see that the higher you go up, the harder it is because you don't want to carry too much. Renowned trainer and boxing commentator Teddy Atlas also gave his thoughts on Crawford's. Atlas acknowledged the difficulty of moving up multiple weight classes but voiced confidence in Crawford's unique abilities. Wait, it's interesting. This is very interesting. He remarked he's already moved up 3 weight classes. Does he have the spine to go up 6? I don't know. I know he's got the character, and I know he's got the mind, and I know he's got the special gifts that very few fighters have. The only 2 I know that have it right now are him and Inu. Well, as long as it doesn't prevent him from moving or slipping punches, and just stay on the outside. Atlas's comments underscore Crawford's mental toughness and exceptional skill set. Comparing him to the likes of Naoya, another fighter known for his extraordinary talents, thinks that Crawford's resilience and high boxing IQ could give him an edge even against a seasoned champion like Canelo.
He'll hold his own, no question about that. I like that about him. Okay, and I don't always say that. I don't always say that.
Former champion Tim Bradley has also weighed in, offering a detailed analysis of how Crawford could possibly win. Bradley pointed out the importance of Crawford's skill to avoid Canelo's powerful shots. If Crawford can get off, dodge those big shots. Get off again because you see the big shots coming. Crawford is going to be able to see all of that. He's too skilled inside the ring. His IQ is too high. If he cannot get knocked out, he can outbox Canelo.
His skill level is able to bridge the gap in those 3 weight classes. A tall order is a tough task, I would think, for Terence, but at the same time, I would back.
Bradley's perspective highlights Crawford's ring intelligence and strategic acumen. He believes that Crawford's ability to read and respond to his opponent's moves combined with his superior boxing skills could allow him to outmaneuver Canelo and secure a win.
He's up there with the greatest. I've never seen anybody that has everything. Good speed, power, timing, can switch the way he switches, to have the toughness, the meanness that he has, the way he finishes guys, the way he breaks down guys. He's one of the smartest guys that I've ever seen in the ring. I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at once.
No, the primary question going into such a fight is whether Crawford can handle the power at 168 pounds. While he has shown resilience and toughness throughout his career, stepping into the ring with Canelo is a different prospect. Canelo's power and physicality at super middleweight are well documented, and Crawford would need to show he can withstand those heavy shots. Crawford's position draws comparisons to other fighters who have moved up in weight. Yal Shu's latest attempt to move up from 154 to take on Alvarez is a pertinent example. Chero struggled with the added weight, losing his speed and failing to hurt Alvarez. Although Canelo didn't knock him out, it was a one-sided fight. This serves as a cautionary tale for Crawford, stressing the risks involved in such a move. Leonard himself successfully moved up in weight during his career, capturing titles in various divisions. His advice to Crawford reflects his own experience of adapting to higher weight classes while keeping his speed and agility. However, Eddie Hearn has a different perspective, stating he thinks Canelo isn't interested in such a matchup. According to Hearn, there's little to gain for Canelo in this fight since Crawford would be going up from welterweight to super middleweight and
go and fight Terence Crawford if Crawford could come through Madrimov. And every day that passes, I still think to myself, Madrimov is going to flatten Terence Crawford on August.
The disparity in size and skill in higher weight classes is significant. Crawford, who started his career at lightweight, has never fought at junior middleweight, or super middleweight, while Canelo has significant experience and success in these higher weight categories and said he loves the Terence Crawford boot. Terence's fight. You know, I took him to see him, and he knows he's fighting, and he knows. But the thing is with Terence also knows, right? Terence thinks he can be anything. Kay suggests that even if Canelo were to win, the victory would be discounted because of the size difference. He thinks Canelo doesn't relish the idea of chasing a smaller, more agile fighter like Crawford around the ring, similar to his experience fighting El Charo last September. In that fight, Canelo loved the direct confrontation, but found Charo's movement and defensive style less appealing. I mean, he's a legend of the sport, but he also knows he's fought him. He knows how good boots are, and he'll fight me. Hearn hints that the financial aspect might sway Canelo's choice. A major payday could entice him to take on Crawford, but it would require a substantial amount of money to justify the lack of credit he'd gotten for defeating a smaller opponent.
We got to make the fight big enough for someone to pay the big bang.
Hearn also points out that Canelo might be more inclined to fight Edgar Berlanga, the WBA mandatory challenger, for his next title defense in September. He sees this as a more straightforward and enjoyable fight for Canelo. Berlanga is a bigger fighter who would likely engage more directly, providing the kind of challenge Canelo prefers at this stage in his career. Or Crawford or these guys and don't go in their end. Look sensational. The pressure is on him to look sensational. If he looks sensational on July 13th, they'll come back and contrast. Crawford's style, characterized by movement and technical skill, poses a different and less attractive challenge for Canelo, who might have to deal with a hit and run strategy all night before even considering a bout with Canelo. Crawford faces a tough match against WBA junior middleweight champion Israel Madrimov on August 3rd. Hearn speculates that Crawford could lose this fight given the significant jump in weight and the challenge of bulking up without losing speed and agility and facing a guy that's going to massively outsize him. Also, at this stage in Canelo Alvarez's career, stylistically, I'm not sure he wants to fight. If Crawford does win, he would then need to prepare for another big weight jump to face Canelo, which could further affect his performance. Hearn remembers Crawford's past fights against Victor Pelt and Felix Diaz, where his movement made for less exciting bouts. He thinks that a similar approach against Canelo might not be well received by fans or Canelo himself. He also emphasizes that Canelo's present goals are financial gain and legacy preservation. He admires Canelo's transparency about his motivations, adding that Canelo is clear about fighting for money at this point in his career. Canelo has already earned his place in boxing history with multiple championships across different weight classes and now seeks fights that offer both motivation and lucrative IV rewards. He has the same kind of fun out of an Edgar Berlanga fight. But money talks, I mean. You know, the one thing you know about him is that he is all about money given these factors. Hearn believes that unless the financial offer is the exceptionally high, Canelo would prefer to avoid a fight with Crawford. Instead, he might opt for fighters like BRAWRL who present a more traditional challenge without the complications of a major weight disparity and defensive fighting style. He's achieved everything. He's got the belts, he's got the legacy. There's nothing else to do other than fights that motivate him and fights that make him, even though BRAWRL might not offer the same level of excitement or credibility due to his relatively unproven record. The fight would likely be more straightforward for Canelo and align better with his current goals. Ultimately, while the idea of Canelo versus Crawford's fight is intriguing, Henry's analysis suggests that several significant hurdles make it unlikely unless substantial financial incentives are offered to address the size discrepancy. Crawford's fighting style and Canelo's present career priorities all add to a scenario where he may choose other opponents who align better with his objectives and preferences.
Interested in the Terence Crawford fight because I think he'll be thinking, I'm not going to get any credit for beating Terence Crawford. He's a 147-pounder who's just moved.
Hearn's analysis does make sense. The size is something even Crawford himself feared back then. In 2023, his calculated approach came into sharp focus when TMZ Sports posed an interesting question. If he had the choice, who would he pick as his next opponent without a moment's hesitation? Crawford answered, I would definitely choose Charlo. It's an important fight. There's more information on the table. It's more on the table. The fans all want to play matchmaker, and the experts want to play matchmaker. Everybody seems to be interested in seeing you and Canelo at some point. Obviously, there's a little weight difference. Is that something that interests you down the line? No, not at all. You know, like I said before, Crawford's preference for BRAWRL over Canelo Alvarez was based in more than just the potential for a great fight. It reflected a deeper understanding of his own career trajectory, the physical realities of the sport. When asked about a potential clash with Canelo, Crawford was straightforward, stating the significant weight difference as a major deterrent. Canelo is 2, 3, or even 4 weight classes above me depending on which fight you're talking about, he revealed. So to be honest, Canelo doesn't really interest me because of the size factor.
And I'm gonna state it now, like, Canelo is 2 weight class, 3 weight classes, 4 weight classes above me because
Canelo fighting at his weight doesn't present the right kind of challenge I'm wanting. Crawford continued, I've been asked this question many times before, and I've always had the same answer. I'm firm in my stance for fans wanting to see Crawford achieve a record-breaking 50Z. His reluctance to pursue a fight with Canelo was disappointing. However, Crawford's clarity about his future in the sport was unwavering. He had repeatedly stated his intention to retire on his own terms rather than let the sport dictate his exit. I stated and said that I will retire from fighting before I let boxing retire me. Crawford asserted that I feel as if I haven't fully enjoyed the sport of boxing in my career for some time, and I felt like once I retired, that's where I would get my props, and said that I'm going to retire from boxing before I let boxing retire me. One of Crawford's recent fights, marked by his electrifying walkout followed by rapper Eminem, underscored his prominence in the sport. Reflecting on that, Crawford shared his excitement, which was a dope feeling. Shout out to Eminem for coming out and backing me and showing me so much love. I never knew he was a big Terence Crawford fan, and I felt like once I retired, then that's where I get my props in people. See greatness in Terence Crawford if they don't already see it. From beyond the glamour of his boxing career, Crawford's interview showed a more personal side. He spoke passionately about his life outside the ring, especially his role as a father. No matter what I'm doing in life, I make sure that I'm there for my children, he stressed, highlighting his commitment to family.
Way Canelo fighting that, but at the same time, you know, Canelo really don't interest me because of the size factor.
Crawford's priority, meaningful fights, his refusal to chase unrealistic bouts, and his devotion to family all paint a picture of a man deeply grounded in his beliefs. His decision to steer clear of a fight with Canelo Alvarez was not just about avoiding a mismatch in weight classes. It was about keeping integrity and staying true to his strategic vision for his career in an era where super fights often overshadow sensible matchups. Crawford's stance was refreshing. His acknowledgement of the physical realities and his clear-eyed assessment of what makes a meaningful challenge set him apart. While the boxing world dreamt of seeing Crawford square off against Canelo, the champion himself, resolutely, he understood that greatness is not just about the fights you take, but also about the ones you wisely avoid. And now all that seems to have changed, but even with the drive now, things are likely not to go his way. What's your take on this? Share your ideas below, and don't forget to get to like and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.